Welcome back. It's season 5 of Serious and Silly with Scott and Sheila. Filling in for Sheila this week, we have an amazing guest. And Jen, even though he's a Chicago Blackhawks fan, we had him on anyways, and that just shows how great Eli Hamelin is. Eli, one of our amazing Indigenous students, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And as I mentioned, an equally fantastic guest. She was a student, actually. She joined us in the fall of 2015, and at that time, we only had 4 Indigenous students. She was one of the original 4. And thanks to her work as first a student ambassador, her work in the community, we are now up to 18, and that is just amazing. And she has now decided to join us as the Indigenous Student Life Counselor. So not only is she an alumni, but now she's a colleague. We're so happy to have Jennifer Paul join us. Jen, how you doing?
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited not only to be on Serious and Silly this week, but to be back at Champlain. It's been so exciting the last few weeks.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we've gone from 4 to 18, and Jen, you've been a big part of that. You're a perfect mix of like your kindness and your, compassion, but also fighting for what students need and what they want. So yeah, we're so happy. As I mentioned, you're the new Indigenous Student Life Counselor. So can you tell us a little bit about that role and how it came about?
Yeah, well, it's a brand new role. For the first time ever, we have a full-time position where I'm filling in now, where I'll be working directly with the Indigenous students, helping everyone transition, especially new students where it's their first time coming to post-secondary, and to help them out in every which way in terms of academics or just transitioning into Champlain, into the CJUP, learning everything, meeting new people, and then I will be working heavily with everyone else here at Champlain in terms of staff and faculty on how to bring more cultural awareness to Indigenous people. We are planning many events that I'm sure we will be talking about later on in this episode, but we want to build a better sense of community with all our Indigenous students and as well as the Indigenous communities that are very, very close to Champlain. So as you know, our closest First Nation community is Kahnawake, where I'm from, where Eli's from, and majority of our Indigenous students come from as well. So we're really planning on building better bridges with our community and have a better sense of community overall.
Perfect. Yeah. Before we get to your question, Eli, I did mention that Jen was a student here in fall of 2015. So I just kind of wanted to share this with you both.
Oh God. Oh,
do you remember this picture at all, Jen?
Stop.
Yeah, I'll quickly stop sharing, but do you remember that? Was that your first day here?
I do. It wasn't my first day of school. It was maybe a week or 2 before classes started, where my older sister drove me just to come and get my ID done and to get a better idea of how to get to school. I remember I was so nervous. And honestly, I would prefer that picture over my current staff ID picture. That one is horrendous. I would take my
I'll send it to you.
I'll just reprint me off a new one.
Okay. Go ahead, Eli.
All right, so my question for you, Jennifer, is what were some of your great moments or struggles that you experienced as a student at Champlain?
I think when I first started as a student, I was so nervous. I remember the first couple of weeks when I started, maybe by like this time, ending of September, I was really, really struggling. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna stay at Champlain. I remember that the days were so long. I was taking the city bus to then go on the metro all the way up to get here, and there were maybe like 10-hour days and I was exhausted. I was struggling mentally and I felt as if I was just depleted, and I would go home and sometimes I was on the verge of tears because I didn't know if I could make it. And then because at the time my boyfriend was here with me, Kale, who's also a original founder of the ambassador program, he started to transition into Champlain a little bit faster and better than me. And then slowly, as the weeks went on, I started making new friends and I started to feel more comfortable. And even though it took a little bit longer than I had hoped, I really started to feel as if I belonged at Champlain. And here at school, I was a part of the first cohort of the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management program. So it was brand new when I started in 2015. And honestly, I'm so happy that I chose that program because our cohort got so close with one another. So I was able to make long-lasting friendships with all of my classmates. And before I knew it, we were all hanging out together, going on amazing field trips with our entrepreneurship department, going downtown into the city, meeting small businesses, or going on field trips, talking about sustainability and doing all of these amazing events. And I just remember my last year here at Champlain, which was 2018. I had a mixture of amazing opportunities that came about from my ESBM program. But also at that time, that's when the ambassador program was founded. And that is definitely something that I'm most proud of. It really began with just a few emails back and forth with Dave here in Student Services. And our original founding group was made up of myself, Kale, his younger sister Belle, and Teioniehtàthe, who's been on the show before. And we were able to build a great family here. And it was amazing to just, yeah, there we are. It was amazing to kind of find our voices and know that people here at Champlain wanted to help Indigenous students. They wanted to learn more, and we were able to create these leadership responsibilities and tasks for us, and it honestly felt so fulfilling. And I never thought I would find myself back at Champlain, and here I am full-time helping out the students, and I was one of those students just a few years ago, so it's really a full circle moment.
My apologies, Jen. I tried to find a way to Photoshop Dave out of this picture, but my Photoshop skills were not this great. But yes, can you just go over quickly who we're looking at here?
Yes, so starting on the left, we have Tanu, who is the Executive Director of the First Nations Adult Education Center. Well, if you move your cursor on the other side, that's where I'm starting. But Tanu, Tanu started as our supervisor or boss with the ambassador program, where he's the one who actually pulled the program together behind the scenes to create positions for ourselves as ambassadors, where we're able to get paid a little bit for all of the hard work that we do at Champlain. And then starting off the student crew is Kale. You can see him in the Under Armour sweater and the black hat. He was in the ESBM program with me, my boyfriend. We started in 2015 to 2018, and I'm so happy that we were able to go into that program, like I said. And then in the middle, myself. Right after me is Belle, that's Kale's younger sister, and she was a transfer student from John Abbott, and then she came to Champlain for the winter semester, and I know that she loved it. She loved the switch, so, you know, great on us. And then our last member is Teioniehtàthe, who is honestly one of the best people that I've ever worked with. He's still extremely involved in the Student Indigenous Ambassador program. After I had graduated, I moved on to university, where I studied at Bishop's University, and I stepped away just a little bit from the ambassador program. And during that time, Teioniehtàthe stepped up as the biggest leader for the ambassador programs and has done a wonderful job ever since, and is still currently an ambassador, where he will be coming to Champlain for a number of days throughout the whole year, and he'll be on campus a lot more, which I'm very excited about.
He's also in that picture. You tell how old it is because of how long his hair is.
I know.
Compared to now.
I know. I always forget that he had such long hair, and then when I look back at it, I love his hair.
Yeah. I remember that's how I always recognized him when we visited here when I was at KSS, and I always recognized him because they always wore a Boston's Bruins hoodie, and then he had the long dark hair all the time. So,
I know.
Can't
and
believe
now
you let him
he's
into Champlain with that hoodie.
and now he's chopped it all off, and I don't remember the last time I see him wear any Boston Bruins stuff anymore. So.
I know.
I'll go on to the next question. What do you hope to accomplish in your new position? And what is the difference between working here and being a student?
Well, just to start off, I really hope my first objective is to really get to know all of the Indigenous students and really build up our relationships. Even though it's just been a few weeks since the semester have started, I feel like I've gotten to know I got to know a majority of all of our Indigenous students here. And even though it's just been a few weeks, we already feel like we're a small family upstairs in our student space, where a highlight of my day is always going upstairs, seeing all of the students, just to hang out, catch up with them, see what their day is like, if they need any type of support or help from me, or just to sit down and to laugh. Laughing goes a long way, and it really brightens up my day. I love to see Eli smile and giggle, and I honestly just love spending time with the students. Sometimes I'll ask Eli or some of the other students simply just to sit with me in my office so that I'm not as bored, and to help brainstorm and collaborate on a lot of our other ideas that we have planned for the rest of the school year. But aside from getting really close and building bonds with our students, I really, really want to have a bigger presence here at Champlain and on the campus, celebrating our Indigenous culture and celebrating who we are as Ngwehunwe people, as the original people of this land, and really put more information out there for people to learn and really just connect better with everyone here at the Champlain community. That's always been my goal, and I started working on those type of initiatives when I was here as a student. And it's really fun to see all of the major steps that our ambassador program has taken and Champlain has taken since I graduated in 2018. And I know that there's still so much more we can do, and I love to know that it's going to be a journey here working at Champlain, but it's going to be so fulfilling, and we have so much time together, and I'm really looking forward to see how everything will develop. And then on the second portion of that question, I think what's really, honestly, I feel like I was just a student like last year. I don't feel as if I'm an employee or a full-time professional here, where not that I'm struggling, but I find it very, very different, where I feel like as if I fit in with the students more sometimes than I do with my work colleagues. So it's really interesting to still see myself as a student, because I just graduated university a couple of months ago, compared to being a full-time employee here. And honestly, a lot of people still think I'm a student. I'll be in the hall sometimes and I get mistaken as a student, and I have to be like, no, I work here. But it's really, I find it great that now that I'm here full time, I have kind of not a lot more power, but I have a little bit more support behind me, in the sense of when I have ideas and when I have different projects I want to take on, I know exactly who to contact in the school, what type of support I can get from student services or the registrar's office or any other part of the school, where I didn't know about that as a student, because as a student, you're just trying to focus on your classes, and then you're an ambassador on your free time. And now I have so much more information about the school, and I feel as if I'm getting things done slowly but surely, and I really feel great about everything so far.
Yeah, I've gotten to see some of your work, and it feels like you've already been here like 6 months, but just your work is amazing. And the same thing happens to me in the hallways. People are like, "Oh my God, you're so youthful. You must be a
Yes,
student."
yep.
100% Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, I even get you mixed up sometimes too when I see you in the halls. I'm like, hey, that's a pretty young looking guy right there.
Yeah, I think it's the gray hair.
I think so too.
So this episode will, if you're watching it on the first day, which you better be because Eli's on it, it will be
Yep.
September 26th, the week of National Truth and Reconciliation Day, September 30th. And Jen, I wanted to ask because, you know, you are obviously very passionate about Indigenous people, very passionate about your community. You are the next generation of people who, you know, will take this to the next level. What are your thoughts on National Truth and Reconciliation Day? When you first heard about it, what were you thinking? And, you know,
as someone coming from an Indigenous community, it's really hard sometimes to gauge what reconciliation means, because a lot of the times we're very hopeful and we want to build better relationships and try to tell our stories from our history and really tell the truth. And I think that's a key component of what reconciliation means to a lot of Indigenous people, is that it really revolves around the truth. Without addressing the truth, without restoring the voices to Indigenous peoples and families across Canada and North America in general, it starts by addressing everything that's happened in the past. And I know that can be very difficult sometimes, especially when talking about residential schools and when talking about a lot of different colonial acts that have happened in the past. But having those difficult conversations start a great foundation of addressing the past, learning, and being hopeful that we can have a better future so that nothing like that can ever happen again. And Orange Shirt Day, or National Truth and Reconciliation Day, it's a day of remembering. It's a day of remembering the lives that were lost at residential schools and the children that didn't make it home. And in our culture, we're always thinking about our future generations. We're always constantly hoping for a better outcome for the new generations, for our children. And it's hard to reflect knowing that there were so many children that were lost. And moving forward, we need to do our best to try to ensure that nothing like that ever happens again. So it's quite difficult sometimes to talk about, but I think just celebrating the day in remembrance of everyone and coming together as a bigger community really speaks volumes. And that's why I'm really, really excited for the entire week, starting September 26th, leading up to National Truth and Reconciliation Day, or Orange Shirt Day on September 30th. Champlain will be hosting a week-long of events, and the week is called Segugan Itewe, and it translates to "We are still here" in the Kanien'kehá:ka language. And that week is focused on celebrating Indigenous cultures, our history, our art, sports, and everything else that we want to showcase, because the idea behind that week is to tell our stories and to really signify our strength and resiliency as Indigenous peoples. And that will lead directly up to National Truth and Reconciliation Day on the 30th, where we'll have a big ceremony with elders from different communities to come in and to talk about residential schools, to talk about the past, the history, and what it means moving forward. And on the 30th, our ambassadors with Eli and our other Indigenous students, we will be giving out orange t-shirts, but everyone is still encouraged to wear orange that day. But we do have a number of free t-shirts that we'll be giving out, along with strawberry juice, and it'll be a really important day to reflect, remember, and come together as a larger community.
yeah, and I love what you called it, "We are still here," because what often happens is you have the first Truth and Reconciliation Day and people kind of, okay, well, you know, as our news cycle goes, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So at this being the second one, it's a perfect name for it that, as you said, continue the conversation.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. We can't just wear orange shirts for one day and then put them away and take them back out a year later. The whole point of reclaiming our stories and talking about the past is to keep those conversations going every single day, to work on reconciliation every single day. It's not just, even though Orange Shirt Day is on September 30th, we still have an entire year to make an effort and to change and to move forward. And I hope that that's an idea that is placed in everyone's mind, and they remember that, so that every single day we all wake up and we can be on the same wavelength and we all move forward in the right direction together.
So we're going to shift gears now, and Eli and Jen have known each other for a while. So I've given Eli the task of asking Jen a question that I don't even know this question that, will enlighten us all. So Eli, take it away.
Oh, I was muted. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Okay, so basically it's not like a crazy question. It's just like a simple one, I guess you could say. But from your experience, whether it was like from this year that now that you're working here, or from when you were a student, what has been like the funniest moment that has ever happened to you that you can remember?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think.
Does it include Eli for some reason?
Possibly. I would think it possibly does.
Why, do we have a funny moment together? Am I blowing
Kinda,
it?
yeah. I mean, like there was the orientation when you chased down me and Dahodraja on the highway.
You tell that story because it's better coming from you.
I like how you've turned this around, Jen. Very good.
Okay. I guess to give you time to think about your funny moment, I'll tell this moment. So me and Dahodraja came for orientation to meet some of the Indigenous students that were coming to Champlain this year. And while we were driving there, because Dahodraja picked me up, and while we're driving down, I think it's the Highway 30, I believe it was. As we're driving down there, we see this big pickup truck. I think it's GMC pickup truck come flying past us. And Dahodraja is like, he's like, I think that's Jen. And he's like, that has to be. He's like, she's the only person that has that pickup truck that drives that fast past me going over here. Because he explained this story about how before they would he would head out like 15 minutes early before Jennifer left her house, and she somehow would still pass him and catch up to him and beat him to the school. And he noticed her do that, and it was so funny because he noticed her. He's like, "Oh my God, it's Jen." He's like, "Do you think she's going to the school?" And I was like, "Maybe, it could be possible." And sure enough, we got a text message from her, and she was like, "Are you guys here or something?" And it was so funny. But even the better part was when we were leaving. So we're going to leave, and me and Dahodraja get a head start on Jen because we beat this stoplight, which it needs to be fixed, okay? Because this stoplight is ridiculous. It goes green and then instantly turns red without a yellow light, and it's very dangerous. But me and Dahodraja were able to get past that light, and Jen was behind us, and she didn't even realize she was behind us. So mind you, she doesn't even realize that we're even ahead of her. We're driving down, we don't see her. I keep looking back, all scared, worried that she's gonna come around the corner in her big GMC. I'm horrified, and we didn't see her the whole time, and it was gonna be the first time Dahodraja ever beat her anywhere. And he was getting all excited about it. We get to the Highway 30, it looks like it's all good, and then out of nowhere, you just see this GMC come around the corner, and it was like a horror movie, I swear. It was so horrifying, and he had to move out of the way because she was coming up right behind us, and it was so scary.
It makes it sound like I'm an unsafe driver. I'm very, very safe. I just have a heavy foot.
she's safe, but she drives fast.
I love anytime there's a but in a story. It's she drives safe, but
I know. I need to work on that, but
It's
whatever.
The one thing is that she only does it on the highways. When we're in like normal areas and where she needs to actually, she does a very good job. She drives this limit and stuff like that. But on the highways,
the highways.
horrifying.
I know.
if anybody's watching from the SQ or the police, we're just joking. This story doesn't.
This is a joke. Yeah, this is. I made the story up.
Don't go on the 30 around.
I don't even drive
Jen
a pickup.
No, I'm the one that drives us in.
Yeah.
Jen, we'll end it with this. If people want to know, like I said, if they're watching this on the first day, which they should be, it's the 26th of September, it's the start of the We Are Still Here events. How can they find out about all the amazing stuff that's going on?
I am working on sending out a interactive schedule as of right now. So it should be up and ready to go for Monday, where all the students can see all of our different events, but I will be printing out posters. You should see them all throughout the school and the hallways. On Omnibox, there will be a bunch of information, and on the screens on campus. And on the 26th, we have an amazing artist coming in, Leilani Shaw from Kahnawake, to talk about her experience as a female Indigenous artist. And for Monday, Danny Stacy will be coming in talking about lacrosse history, the history portion of it, and doing lots of demonstrations and activities in the gym. So that will be a full day of events and workshops. And then all the students, I encourage you to check out all the information to see all of the events for the remainder of the week. Come by, even if it's just for 5-10 minutes, try to sit in, learn something new, ask some questions. I'm sure there's some type of event that we pull together that would be of interest of you. We really, really want as many people to come by, because we're putting on this week for everyone here at Champlain, and it'll mean a lot to not only myself, but to Eli and the rest of the ambassadors, and I really, really am looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and I mean,
like, I'll be there. I'll be there too, so I mean, like, you can ask me any question you want.
Yes.
I'm like one of the main attractions, obviously, going to these.
We should have just Eli Hamelin comes.
Is there going to be a 6-foot poster of Eli at the entrance? Because if so, I am there. Autograph sessions, maybe, Eli?
Yeah, I'll sign anything. The only thing I won't sign are Montreal Canadiens, any sort of Montreal Canadiens attire.
Things were going super well until this, Eli. you ruined it, but we'll edit that out.
Yes.
Jen, Eli, thank you guys so much. Jen, we're so lucky to have you here, and Eli, continue your awesome work as well, because like I said, we've gone from 4 to 18, and let's go from 18 to
300.
300.
There you go.
There you go. That'll be our next goal.
Thanks, guys. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very
Scott.
much.